Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. So I kind of want to talk about how I achieved all my goals, and it kind of made me feel kind of complacent for the past year, despite my net worth going up by $1.2 million. But I literally did absolutely nothing besides work a W-2, max out my 401k, max out my IRA, started investing in my life or max funding my life insurance again, and just working my W 2. Probably at the W 2 job that's the highest I'd probably ever get paid, to be honest. Not many jobs can surpass my current income as a pharmacist. And I feel like I kind of achieved all my goals or whatever I have left over. Like I know I can achieve. So like it was kind of underwhelming this year to um, do my New Year's resolutions for 2025. Like I was asking my fiance, like, hey, what are your goals? And then, she listed off a few, and then I listed off my goals, and like everything was like achievable if I want to do it. So I can kind of share my goals. But my first goal was just to like continue working out, 3 to 4 times a week. Even if I'm tired, if I just can show up for like 10 to 15 minutes at the gym, that's good enough, right? I have a gym that's within my community I live in. I just can like walk there or drive there. It's like about half a mile away. And even if I'm tired, just like, 10, 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and just get a workout in. I can do light weights, but the key is just to get in there, get my body moving, and just go based on how I feel. So I feel like I've kind of been doing that pretty consistently since October. And then, it takes a while for the muscles to regain, but I'm trying to regain back to like my powerlifting days. And I don't want to be as buff as that, but because, powerlifting can come with injuries, right? So I just want to, and working out for longevity and obviously rebuilding back that muscle. So I feel like I'm already doing that. Another goal that I put up was continue to create content, daily. And, I feel like I am. And what's helping me do this is because I don't edit my videos, right? And despite I hear guys' feedback, like to have pictures and all that. But for me, that's just like, more effort than I like to put in right now, considering that I work at W-2, considering I own real estate. Like, I'd rather just spend my time and energy trying to find out ways to, buy more real estate, to be honest. That's probably the better use of my time. And I don't want to like invest in like an editor just yet because, I post daily videos. So, if I have an editor, it might cost me 3, 4 thousand bucks a month. And I want to see kind of an ROI on that. I'd rather take that 3, 4 thousand bucks a month and use that to go buy another piece of real estate, right? So, you know, that might be what's holding me back from growth, but I just don't want to make that investment into the content yet. Because like I'd rather just take that money and like invest it somewhere else. So to me, it's I'll focus on slow, gradual improvement over time. Maybe I'll get to the point where I can afford an editor or shell out for an editor, but right now it just doesn't seem worth it for me. But I can continue to post content daily, and slowly improve. Like I improve my camera. I'm trying to improve my mic, some lighting here, and the way I deliver stories. So another goal that I kind of put down, which was a little bit ambiguous, I was just like, I want to buy a great multifamily deal if I can find one. So I think I have a video talking about it, but I think middle of 2025, so like end of quarter two of 2025, going to 2026, I think there's gonna be a lot of good multifamily deals or real estate deals in general that you could buy because I think banks are gonna start calling loans due. So if you got a loan in 2025 or 2020, you need a 5-year term, your balloon payment's coming due. But what's happening to a lot of operators is number one, rents are probably not going up as high as they thought or going down if you're in an area where there's a lot of new construction going live or they overbuilt. So your rent is staying the same or going down. On top of that, your expenses are going up because property tax is going up, property insurance is going up, and your labor is going up, materials are going up, right? So all the costs are going up. So if you have your NOI equation, your income is the same or less, combined with your expenses are more. So your NOI is less. So that's decreasing the value of your asset. On top of that, your NOI, which is the cap rate, because interest rates are higher, your cap rate's going higher. So if you have a lower NOI, that's going to lower your value. If you have a higher cap rate, it's going to lower your value. So you're getting hit both ways. So I think a lot of multifamily operators who are not good, right, who had bad property management or they overpaid for the property, they're gonna get balloons caught in them and they're gonna foreclose, and the banks will take back the deals. I think a lot of banks are giving extension to these owners, hoping that interest rates will drop, in the new year or with the new president, whatever. But interest rates haven't. They've kind of been the same or been going up. So I think once lenders will just continue to extend, but eventually they'll call due. So if let's just say, I paid $1.1 million, or let's say $2 million for a property, and I put 25% down, which is what, $500,000. My loan's $1.5 million. But if you look at your NOI and your rent went down, your expenses went up, your cap rate went up, maybe the value is worth like $1.3 million at these today's interest rates, right? So like, okay, your loan is like 1.5, you bought it for 2 million and now it's worth 1.3, so they're underwater. So if owners know that, they're trying to sell their properties at cost to break even, hoping that they can get a 1031 exchange investor to just dump a bunch of money and they can escape and break even. But if that's not happening, then they know that, oh shoot, like my loan's being called due, I'm trying to get extended, hopefully interest rates will go down and cap rates will hopefully go down. But if they don't, I think banks are going to realize, you know what, I'm just going to foreclose on you guys and cut the losses, right? They already got their down payment, they got their monthly mortgage payments, which is mostly interest payments, right, for the first few years. And then on top of that, it's they're going to take back the property, and the banks know how much they're worth, right? Like today. So once they take it back, banks, that's when you, as the investor, as the opportune investor, and being the A class operator, that's when you start reaching out to banks, right? Especially the banks that you're already working with. Like I work with BMO, I work with local community banks. I'll reach out, hey, if you ever get a deal that you foreclose on somebody, I will be your buyer. Think of me first, right? Because I have experience. I have a track record. I got 46 units. I've done renovations. I've done value add. I've raised the rents. I'm currently managing apartments, right? And I want to buy this right. So maybe the guy bought for 2 million, and maybe it's worth 1.3 now. Maybe I can buy it for like $1 million or $900,000, right? And tell the bank, hey, like the last owner probably deferred all maintenance because they're trying to save all their money for themselves, knowing that they're gonna get foreclosed on. Like I wouldn't, if I knew I was getting foreclosed on, I wouldn't fix anything. I just would just defer all the maintenance, deny all the requests, and just wait until I get foreclosed on and collect whatever cash flow I get, right? So there's gonna be a lot of deferred maintenance. So you have to bake that in, right? So you have to bake in like, well, if I take over this property, how much capex is there gonna be? That's why you have to do your inspections, get cost, and then know what's your exit strategy. So like, if I can buy it for like $1 million and I'm putting in, $400,000, I'm all in for 1.4 million. What's the ARV? And then can I do a 75% cash out refinance, pull out my down payment, pull out my renovation costs, do a perfect BRRRR? So that's why I mean you have to buy right and you have to operate well, right? So, but the key is if you buy right, it helps cover for your lack of operations. Like I bought my 26 unit very well. I bought my 20 unit very well, so that as I'm learning to operate, it gives me a buffer, it gives me a cushion. So now I have that experience, I have that record, I have my team. I'm just waiting for these deals, right? So I'm waiting for these lenders to give me deals at like 60% off, 40%. I'm waiting for that cleared sale, right? Like if it's 50% off, I'll buy two apartments. So I'm just lurking and waiting like a shark, right? And trying to negotiate or talk to a lot of lenders to give me a lot of lending options so that I'm ready, right? I have my tax statements ready. I got my down payment ready. I got my, real estate resume ready. I have my, all my ducks in place, right? So that you can impress these lenders. And because like I said, lenders, banks, they don't want to manage real estate. They just want to collect money. So that's why you can buy good. Like, hey, like just work with me. You'll get your money back or cut your losses. So, so that's kind of my goal, but like, I want to be patient, right? Because I know a bud blaff will come. And then when I'm ready, I just want to buy another deal, right? Maybe a 30 unit, 40 unit, 20 unit, whatever, right? If it's a good deal, I'll buy it, but no rush, right? No, I'm in no rush. Like, I could easily double my portfolio if I find the right deals, right? I could buy a 50 unit, double my portfolio, but I want to make sure I'm buying it right and have a good exit and have a buffer because I'm buying it at a high interest rate today. Unless I'm doing seller financing, right? So that's really what it is. I just put that as a goal, but I know that like without even much effort, like I know I could probably buy an apartment complex, 20 to 40 units every like 3 to 4 years. Because why every 3 to 4 years? Because I just want to like buy it, stabilize it, and then once that's stabilized, then I'll buy another one. And on average, it would probably take me 2 to 3 years to stabilize it. So, I could probably safely buy 20 to 40 unit apartment complex every like 3 years, 3 to 4 years, assuming but I have to buy a good deal, right? So, but I know how to find a good deal now. It just takes time, takes patience. Send out your letters, make offers, talk to lenders. Eventually, you'll get your deal, right? So I know I can do that. I've done it twice already. So it's just a matter of patience. So like any real estate goal that I set, I know I can achieve, right? And I don't want to set too lofty of a goal because I don't want to syndicate. I don't want to raise money unless it's private money lending, maybe, but I don't want to give equity because I want full control of the asset, right? Like I'd rather buy a smaller apartment complex using my money or getting one private money lender to just pay interest only and don't give them any equity in the deal because I want full control of the asset, right? I don't want to like have to like ask someone to do something or like respond to like investors. I just want to own it 100% myself. But I don't mind putting my own money in, or if someone wants to be a private money lender and I pay them like whatever 10 to 12% interest on their money, then great, right? That's all I want to do. So because I have enough real estate that I ever need, right? I don't need to own thousands of units to live a good life. I just need to get, honestly, with my current portfolio, I don't need to buy any more real estate and I'm set for the rest of my life. But, I think it's a waste for me not to buy real estate, just given the skill set that I developed over, the past 7 years. So, this is where compounding happens, right? So I'm just waiting for that right deal. And when I'm ready, when I see that deal, I'm going to strike. And I'll have my lender in place and I know exactly what the loan, like 50-40-10 loan or credit financing, or they want 25% down, then it's going to be a lower offer, right? So I always give 3 offers now. I'll give an offer with me 25% down using a traditional lender. I'll give an offer using 50-40-10 where the seller will carry 40%. And I would do an offer where it's 90% seller financing, right? And obviously, if it's credit financing, I can offer more because we can negotiate the interest rate. So, whatever real estate goal I set, I know I can do it. Like if I want to buy, a new building in Huntsville, Alabama, I know I can do that, right? If I know I want to buy an apartment every 3 years, I know I can do that, right? So that's what I mean about I'm a little bit bored. Yes, maybe I'm saying my goal too low, but at the same time, it's just like I'm just very lifestyle oriented. Like I want to like push myself to see how far I can go, but I don't want to like over push it where like I burn myself out or I lose everything, right? So it's kind of like a gradual, slow motion going upward, but not like drastic, right? So like that's kind of my goal and my objective. So like this is the boring middle, right, of the marathon, right? Like it's just the grind of it. So like I set a real estate goal, but yeah, I do want to buy a 20 to 40 unit in 2025 if I find a good deal and if it makes sense, right? So that's kind of my goal. And then eventually, maybe I'll buy some more new builds in Huntsville, Alabama, but that's always easy, right? As long as the numbers cash flow and then a little bit to break even, I'm happy. But with these interest rates today, it just doesn't make sense, right? Unless I do something like creative finance, right? But if I want new construction, you can't really get creative, right? So, it's just about running the numbers and waiting for interest rates to drop. And then I can easily buy some new builds in Huntsville, Alabama, right? No issue there. I think another goal that I set is to, oh geez, I think just manage my stress and optimize my sleep still. Like, like I have this crazy, sleep routine now. And I'll share with you guys my sleep routine. But pretty much once the sunset goes down, I dim all my lights. So, right now it's, it gets dark around like 4:30. So like once 4:30 hits, I try to dim all my lights as much as possible. If I'm watching TV, I try to dim that as low as possible. If I'm on a laptop, I dim that as possible. On my phone, I use dark mode, so it's dark. If you're really intense, I'm not there yet, but you can get like blue light blockers where they're like glasses and they block all the blue light. Like, if you ever go camping, you sleep early because you sleep based on the sun. So like I remember I was like kind of out in camping one day in Orange County and it got dark at like 4:30. I'm like, I was tired by like 6 because it's so dark and all you see is the moon and some lights. So that's how the natural sleep cycle is, but we're using all the artificial light, which messes up our circadian rhythm, our sleep cycle, messing our melatonin cycle. So, for me, I try to simulate as much as possible. So if it's getting darker, I try to dim my lights as much as possible, right? Or like you can have like a candle or like a little light in the corner, right? So as dim as possible. And that's the moment it happens. Typically, I will try to stop drinking water after like maybe dinner. So after once dinner hits, like which I usually finish dinner around 6:30, I don't drink any more water because if I know if I drink water, I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night to go pee, right? And that disturbs my sleep. So I try to like front load my hydration. So once I wake up in the morning, I'll usually chug like, 2 to 3 cups of water. But from like when I wake up at like, 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. until like I front load it to lunchtime, I front load a lot. And then from lunch onwards, I still drink, but I try to drink water from like 6 until like maybe 6. So 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. After 6 p.m., I try to very limit how much water I need so I don't wake up in the middle of the night to go pee, right? So I'd rather be a little bit dehydrated, but not wake up and disrupt my sleep. Another thing I do for my sleep routine is I actually take in the morning, so I take a vitamin D supplement, and I try to get sunlight in the morning. So like right now behind me, like there's a patio. So like if I try to, I try to stand out there as I'm drinking my cup of water to get some sunlight in my eyes. It sets your sleep cycle, and it helps remove a lot of the adenosine in your system, which causes fatigue, which is what coffee binds, right? And for me, I try to get sunlight, or like if like I get, let's say I'm running late to work, like I park on the top of this parking structure when I get to work, and then I get sunlight, so I'll just like walk out there, I'll just stand out there for a little bit and just get some sunlight in my eyes. And when you have a sunset, I usually try to like, you can try to walking outside too. Sometimes I do that, or at least look at the sunset because it sets your eye rhythm, right? So on top of that, I try to keep my bedroom very cool, right? So like you want it cool to sleep in. Um, for me, I like to keep everything as dark as possible. So I have like blackout curtains and blinds. So I have blinds and blackout curtains, like they're straight up just black. So I want to block out as much light as possible. If you have electronics that have that little lights on them, you can put like tape over it to cover that. But I try to keep my room as dark as possible to the point where like it's hard because I have this one window in the bathroom which has no curtain. It's above the shower and like light goes through there and I still see it. But then to help mitigate that, I actually wear like a blindfold, so that between the blackout curtains and the blindfold, I try to like minimize as much light exposure as possible so I can sleep. On top of that, I play Sound of Rain, which is kind of like white noise, so that if you have a busy mind at night, you just focus on the rain and it helps distract you, right? So like I've been really big on like the sound of rain and the white noise. Sorry, back to supplements. I like to take a magnesium after dinner. So I take 3 supplements. I take a multivitamin, which has magnesium. I take a fish oil, and I take a magnesium supplement because I don't eat enough nuts, right? And most people are deficient in magnesium. If you work in the hospital, we're always giving patients magnesium, but it helps with trigger the kind of rest and digest system. And like for me, I have a problem with like bruxism, where I clench my jaw in the middle of the night and I grind my teeth in the middle of the night. So by taking magnesium, it helps relax me a little bit and increase my magnesium level, and it helps reduce the amount of clenching that I have, as well as the grinding at night. I think it's a response to stress and maybe just genetic too, because my sister has it, my dad has it, a lot of people in my family have that. Um, so obviously when I go to sleep, I like to shower before I sleep because I take a warm shower. It helps relax the muscles, and you're clean, right? So you feel like you're clean when you go into your bed, and then at that point, I don't do anything overstimulating. Like once it gets close to like my bedtime, which is like 9:30 p.m. ish, I try to be consistent every day, even on the weekends. And obviously you don't want to drink any caffeine, past 3 p.m. I don't really drink caffeine in general because I'm too wired from that. But like no caffeine, so like no coffee, no green tea, no like sodas. So I try to limit that after like lunchtime. So if I were to do it, it's like at lunchtime, and then I do nothing overstimulating before I go to bed. So I'm not gonna like watch like this overstimulating movie or something, or get like worked up over something. And if I am like stressed before I sleep, I usually will journal. I journal in the morning. I try to, but if I'm stressed at that night, I'll try to journal it before I sleep to get the thoughts onto paper instead of my mind ruminating. And then from there, I will basically, wear my mouth guard so it prevents me from like grinding. And then something that I've started recently is like I'm a mouth breather. I didn't even know that, right? But like mouth breathing is apparently a thing. There's a book called Breathe by I think James Nestor. But like I didn't even realize, like I remember when I was a kid in 5th grade, like I thought it was weird. Like I was like, why am I always breathing my mouth? And I never like questioned it, but I remember asking in 5th grade, I was like, hey, do you breathe with your mouth or your nose? And most people would be like, I breathe with my nose. And I was like, huh. And when you're a mouth breather, it fucks up your teeth. Like I had really messed up teeth when I was in 5th grade because I was always breathing my mouth. right? And how do you know you breathe with your mouth at night? Well, you wake up, you have a dry mouth, dry throat, right? That's a key indicator. So, and then your teeth is like really crooked, and then apparently it makes like your face a little more like elongated. Like that's why mine's a little elongated. Like you have a longer face, you have a bigger jaw, it's more protrusive. So, I didn't even know that. But what's crazy too is like by breathing with your mouth, it actually brings less oxygen into your body, into your brain. So that's why people with like sleep apnea, or if you snore at night, you have sleep apnea, or you're a mouth breather. When I wake up in the morning, even though I got like 8, 9 hours of sleep, I always felt very hazy and tired in the morning. Like my brain would be feel very hazy and foggy. My body would be tired, and there's just this period where I'm just very hazy. So I was like, why is that? So I just thought I just need more sleep. Maybe I need 9 hours of sleep. But what I learned is that if I mouth breathe at night, I am not oxygenating my lungs as much, which means that I'm not getting as much oxygen to my brain. So it's just my brain having a lack of oxygen, right? So what I did was I literally taped my mouth, right? I got this like just this tape, and I just put tape on it to like trigger me to like not breathe with my mouth and to breathe with my nose. So in the beginning, it's a little bit scary because like you feel like you're suffocating. And it is more work to breathe with your nose than you breathe with your mouth, because when you breathe with your nose, it creates resistance, right? Because your nasal passages right here are a lot smaller compared to your mouth. Like your mouth just wide open. Like when you're running and exercising, obviously you're breathing with your mouth. It's more chest breathing, more shallow. But when you breathe with your nose, it's more deep. It creates more pressure so that it inflates your lungs stronger. And when you inflate your lungs stronger, you get more oxygen, which then oxygen goes to your brain better, right? So when I learned that by breathing with my nose, it improves your oxygenation by 20%. I think that's significant. So I did a study on myself. So when I didn't tape my mouth, right? And I want to get like an Oura ring so I can track this, right? See my oxygenation with mouth breathing versus nasal breathing, but I don't have that yet. But what I did was, so okay, like yesterday I slept and I was mouth breathing that night because I woke up, my mouth was so dry, so I knew I was mouth breathing, and I felt very hazy and very tired, and like you had eye bags, and I just looked shitty. And I was like, all right, so like this past night, I taped my mouth. I was like, I'm gonna breathe with my nose tonight, and I taped my mouth, and I woke up, got the same hours of sleep, and I was like, oh, my brain is not as hazy, not as foggy, and I feel more energized because I'm breathing my nose, right? And it's hard for me. Like I think for me, I have like allergies, which is why I probably gravitated towards breathing my mouth as a kid, because maybe my nasal passage isn't as open, maybe it's allergies. So you can get like a little like in room, air filter, HEPA filter, or it sucks up all the dust, all the allergens, right? And that's why it's nice about taking a shower before you sleep too, is they just wash off all that pollen and dust off of you, and you clean out your nasal passages in the shower. But like I'm like, oh my god, I didn't realize that was that significant, right? Like, well, just me tipping my mouth, and if I breathe in my nose, it'd make me have a better shaped face. I wouldn't have messed up teeth and have braces and need braces, right? And then I would have a more refreshed mind, because I'm always like hazy in the morning. I never knew why. I just thought I wasn't a morning person, but it just turns out that like I just wasn't breathing with my mouth instead of my nose, and that 20% oxygenation is the difference between you feeling hazy versus you feeling not. So like now, um, I'm trying to make it a habit. Unless my nose is like really congested, like I'll just tape my mouth, put a piece of tape right here, and then it just forces me to nasal breathe, right? And then if I'm nasal breathing, um, you're trying to train your body to do that. So that I know is when I tape my mouth and I nasal breathe at night, it makes it easier for me to nasal breathe during the day. But during the day, I'm trying to be more cognizant of like, hey, breathe more of my nose. So that's something that I'm working on to optimize my mindset. I was like, oh my god, this is like I feel way more energized with that. Like just like if you sleep your sleep apnea and you get like a CPAP, like my friend was like, oh my god, I feel much more energized, less groggy in the morning, and that's it. It's because you're just lacking oxygen. Um, so that's another goal. And another kind of goal that I set for myself, which is why I said I feel complacent, is because like I want to pay off my primary residence, and I know I can do that. I just sell one property, take the equity from that, pay off this property, it's done, right? So like all the goals that I have, I know I can achieve already, right? Because I've kind of built systems into that. So like to me, like what's the next thing? Like I think the only thing that can really significantly change my life at this point is if I somehow blow up on social media, somehow blow up on YouTube, and then now I'm like speaking at events and like flying out to the events and stuff like that. But like maybe my time will come, or maybe it won't come, right? But like that's the only next thing that I can think of. And I'm patient, right? If it takes me another 3 years, 5 years, whatever, I'm going to continue to post content every day and get there, right? So like, I know I can post content every single day. I know I'll continue to work out 3 to 4 days a week. I know that, I have systems in place to like force myself to nasal breathe, right? And I'll just tape my damn mouth, right? And then wear my mouth guard, tape my mouth. And then I make sure that I'm optimizing my sleep. So I'm reducing how much alcohol I'm drinking, how much caffeine I don't really drink much caffeine or alcohol in general because it makes me feel shitty. The only thing I can, like, coffee makes me feel shitty. Like, it messes with my stomach. And alcohol messes with my stomach too. So, we barely drink now. Occasionally we'll just drink a little bit, but like overall we don't really drink much. And I lack the enzymes, so I have that Asian glow, right? I get really red if I drink. And coffee makes me feel shitty. I can only drink green tea if I want like caffeine. So like if I want to buy real estate, a good multifamily deal every 3 years, that's totally attainable, right? And I don't want to scale too fast either, because like I know my quality of life won't improve, right? Like if I own too much real estate, my quality of life will go downhill, right? I know that, so I want to be cognizant and picking the right real estate deals, right? If I want to buy a new build in Huntsville, Alabama, I know I can do that. It's pretty easy. I just need to save up $70,000, $80,000. Boom, put a down payment down. It just depends on what interest rates are. So right now interest rates are high, it doesn't make sense to buy. But if interest rates lower and it can cash flow, then I'll probably move forward, right? So that's another goal. My net worth, right? They said things are just compounding, right? Like I just dollar cost average my universal life insurance, my index funds. I continue to buy Apple stocks. Like I'm systematized and everything. So like that's why I said I'm like very complacent, right? Like borderline bored. But I know it's all gonna change once I have kids and all that. So I'm trying to like focus on like traveling a lot this year before I have kids, right? Like I'm gonna go to Cabo for my bachelor's party. I'm gonna go to Costa Rica for my honeymoon. I'm gonna go to Banff for check that area out, and then I want to go to probably Vietnam, the motherland. Never been there, but like yeah, I want to try to travel as much as I can. But I know like with my job schedule, like I've always traveled, right? Like I always made a priority to travel, like twice a year at least, and then do stuff on the weekends. So it's I'm getting kind of complacent there, where like I need to kind of find something that will fulfill me, and maybe kids, right? That's part of it, or having a family. And but in terms of like financially, I felt like I kind of can achieve everything I want without much effort at this point. um so it's kind of making me complacent, and I was like telling my fiance that I'm like, man, I just kind of feel complacent. Like I kind of have everything systematized. Obviously I can get better in some aspects, but like, do I want to like spend the effort to do that? I don't know yet. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of my long rant about kind of my goals that I set for myself, and how I feel I can achieve all these goals now. Because I've kind of mastered patience, and just waiting for the right multifamily deal to buy. Because like I said, I'd rather have quality over quantity for real estate, right? So I want good quality deals. Like even though I buy Huntsville, Alabama property, if it just cash flows $100-200 a month, that's fine. But buying a high quality property that is a new construction, so it's minimal maintenance. So like just want to hold on to it for the long term. And it's very passive for me to manage that, to be honest. So yeah, that's kind of my strategy. So if you're interested in buying multifamily real estate with some guidance, some mentorship, check out the mentorship program down below. Otherwise, let me know what questions you have. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.